Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Little Give. I'm excited for you to meet our guest. We have so many fascinating things to talk about. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're all about.
Hello, Cindy. My name is Tamara Rucker. I'm a licensed private investigator, asset recovery specialist, and registered heir finder. So there we go.
Okay, so this is such an interesting niche. Tell us a bit about how you got into this work.
I got into it. I started in law enforcement in the military, and when I came out, you know, me and my husband were into real estate, and we had rental properties, and he suggested that we purchase tax sale properties. And I had already, done investigations, and I started digging into what happens after a tax sale. So I actually figured out that folks are entitled to the money after a tax sale, but they rarely are told about it. They're rarely informed about it. So that money, it gets absorbed by the county if they don't claim it within 3 years. And then also from there, I tried, figured out other ways that people leave assets abandoned or unclaimed. And that's how unclaimed property claims came into play. So I combined both of them and started Rockwood Recovery. And it's been rewarding to help people claim that money that they had no idea existed in the first place.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I have never heard of that before. Tell us a bit about how all that works.
So when a person does not, if a family or a homeowner does not pay their real estate taxes for 3 years, their county, and this is nationwide, the county takes that house, sells it on the courthouse steps. And if it sells for more than the back taxes that were owed, it usually leaves what's called a surplus. So if somebody owed $5,000, but the property sold for $100,000 at tax sale, that leaves $95,000 in equity for that original owner to claim. The problem that most people face is that they're not really notified. The notice is sent to the last known address, which just so happens to be the house that was sold that they moved out of. So they're never really informed of those funds. And that's when an asset recovery specialist comes into play and informs them of it and assists them with making a claim, because it's not so straightforward to make a claim.
Wow, that's wild. I've never thought of that before. I've seen those little pop-ups they have outside the courthouses before where they do those sales, but I never realized. I thought that once they took the property from the person, like, too bad, we get to keep all of it. So what you're saying is that there could be quite a bit of money that's kind of left on the table there. And if you don't know about it, then you can't access it. Is that correct?
Correct. So they do get to keep the money if it is not claimed after 3 years. So there's time that gets shaved off of that too, when it comes to a redemption period. But if you get to them in time and you assist them with making a claim, and the claims process can be different for everybody, and it all depends on if the owner is living or deceased. Many times these properties are owned, and why they went to tax sale in the first place is because the original property owner has been deceased and the family was not sure of what to do. So what we do as recovery specialists, we work on contingency only, and we actually front the legal fees for these claimants so they can get through the probate process and have that, legal documentation that they are entitled to the surplus, put that claim together, submit it to the county, and help them collect that money before the county actually has the right to escheat those funds.
Wow. So tell us how you came across this knowledge. I mean, it seems like you probably had your mind blown when you realized how much money is just being absorbed by the counties. Tell us a bit about that journey.
And it wasn't a hard journey to necessarily come across, because I was researching tax sale properties anyway. It was a little bit astounding to figure out that the notification process was extremely flawed. The counties actually had all the information available for investors to purchase the properties from tax sales, but they didn't have any information posted or publicly available for the previous homeowners who were entitled to the money. So, and again, I started researching, how much of this money has not been claimed and how much of it gets escheated by the county. It seemed really unfair. It seemed really unfair. So even now, Rockwood Recovery and myself, I'm working as a lead policy consultant for state legislators to change our state statute on this, to update the notification process for homeowners. And that way it evens it out, and more people can have access to these funds and be properly informed that they're entitled to these funds before the escheatment period.
Absolutely. And it's sometimes, obviously if they couldn't pay the taxes, they may not have the funds, in general. So then they might think, well, if I need help getting this, they might think that'd be a cost too. But you mentioned that you absorb all those funds, right? All the costs so that you can provide this service to them. That is so, so interesting. And it's also really cool how you kind of stumbled upon this and then took it upon yourself to really make a change for people who are, not getting what they are entitled to.
Correct. It's already devastating enough to lose a house.
Yeah.
But the hurdles that are placed in front of people when wanting to make a claim for their surplus is even more devastating. It's actually quite discouraging. So again, absorbing that cost and only working on contingency was the only way to go. And also, as a state registered air finder with the state treasury, we're required to work on contingency anyway. So every state has an unclaimed property division, but there's billions of dollars. If you think that tax foreclosure surplus, there's millions of dollars. Well, in each state, there's billions of dollars in unclaimed property just sitting, waiting to be claimed by the proper owners. So, they enlist the help of, asset recovery specialists, locators, and investigators. They give us their entire database to access for the specific purpose of reaching out to those owners and assisting them with making a claim to take it off the Treasury's hands. So,
hi, my name is Justin Clark, and I'm the president of the board of directors for Driving Single Parents, a 501c3 nonprofit serving the citizens of San Antonio and Bexar County, Texas. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the great work that our organization is doing for the citizens of San Antonio. What you're about to see is just a few photos and videos of the way that we're changing lives for single parents in and around San Antonio, Texas. Our first giveaway took place in April of 2017, just one short month after the formation of our organization. John, a Bexar County resident, was the victim of a horrible drunk driver incident. He and his daughter survived the crash, and we were so proud to give our first car to this deserving family. Fast forward to 2020, a very difficult year for nonprofits. We were able to secure 4 vehicles for single parents in need. Our organization, including our board of directors, list of partners, and portfolio of people we've been able to help in San Antonio, continues to grow, and it's all thanks to donors and local community organizations that have helped us along the way. This giveaway took place in 2021 and shows that we continue to help single parents even after the struggles brought about by COVID-19. Because of limited funds and the overwhelming need, we at Driving Single Parents are incredibly selective with the people we help. Some are victims of domestic violence. Others had a spouse pass away tragically or otherwise fell on hard times. These single parents show adversity in the face of challenge and aren't looking for a handout. We offer a hand up and help get them back in the driver's seat. Many of the single parents we help go on to graduate college, get promotions, get married, mentor others, and some have even been so touched by the gift we gave them that they have decided to join our board of directors to pay it forward and ensure the continued growth of our organization. If you would like to help our organization continue to grow and continue to help single parents in need in San Antonio, Texas, and Bexar County, Texas, we would really appreciate your support. Please visit us online at www.drivingsingleparents.org. Thank you.
Well, absolutely. I can see why this would be very rewarding work for you. Tell us a bit about, you mentioned about the legislature and those updates. Tell us a bit about that and how you got involved with that part of it.
So I would go, I noticed how unfair it was. And my recovery firm, Rockwood Recovery, um, we're the only firm operating in my particular area. And so wanting to update those policies, going to county council meetings, speaking out, trying to affect local policy. And I was getting told that I needed to go to a state level because most of the county collectors are like, well, we're just following the state statute. And so I said, well, okay, I'm going to change the state statute. So I started attending, political events. I also had some friends that worked in local government who introduced me to the right people. And I got in the rooms with the correct people and with these legislators. And a lot of them actually didn't even know what I was talking about, believe it or not. And when I explained it to them, each and every one of them, it really didn't matter what party they were part of. Their answer was the same. That's common sense. And so they jumped on it. They jumped on it and were like, let's do this. So the statute just needed to be reformed, basically just add those notification standards, as well as changing that escheatment. There's no reason why somebody should lose a house and then lose the right to claim the equity in their house. And so what we're adding to that statute is, instead of being escheated by the county for 3 years, the money needs to go to unclaimed property, just like any other unclaimed or abandoned asset, giving everybody the right to claim the equity in their own home, just like they would with an abandoned bank account or abandoned life insurance policy.
Absolutely. Wow, that's just so incredible, the work that you're doing. Tell us what it is about you that, is a little different. Some people might see what you saw and say, okay, well, I'm going to do this. But you said, oh, wait, this is so unfair. I need to do something more and put more energy and effort into making sure that you make those big changes. What do you think it is about you that made you want to do that?
I think it was just a matter of being informed. For me, for every year, and it was really interesting. Every year I would check the unclaimed property website and I would have unclaimed property. And I'm talking like up to $1,000 in unclaimed property just sitting there that I could claim. And it was just a matter of being informed. If people are informed about these things, it's a lot easier for them to just go claim it on their own. Now, for the larger amounts, that's a different story. It's a little more difficult. It requires a little more paperwork, a lot more effort. But if people are just informed, properly informed, they have a fair chance of claiming money. And especially with the economy the way it's been, every bit counts. Every bit counts to the average family. And no matter, honestly, not even average family, just to every family. If you know that if you're going through a hard financial time, and you find out that you have $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 or more just sitting there in a state treasury, or you lost a house and you're thinking you lost the house and everything, even the equity in it, and as long as you're informed, you have a fair chance to claim that money. So,
Yes. Especially with somebody like you on their side to help them make sure that they, cross the T's and dot the I's. I've gone on there and seen that, like me, my dad, lots of people have all this money on there, but they make it very difficult for you to claim it. You try to like put in the information, they want to know the address at the time. And I mean, it's very difficult. Have you experienced some of that where it's kind of difficult to kind of unlock that unclaimed money?
yes, actually, I just had a case where the individual passed away over 20 years ago. And they wanted proof of the address, the last known address. And that was really difficult to find. It was extremely difficult to find. But with the right software, they will accept alternatives. They don't just need a tax bill. Sometimes they want a tax bill. Sometimes they'll want a piece of mail that was sent there to that person, whether it's a utility bill or tax bill or whatever. But if you have access to a database where, skip tracing software, where it's like credit check companies or background check companies utilize to verify your old addresses and so on and so forth. They will accept that as a form of address verification, which is why it's really good to have an asset recovery specialist or a licensed private investigator on your side, because we have access to that information.
Hi, my name is Andrew Fraley, and I believe that sometimes we all need a little bit of help. If you're in the San Antonio community and you need some legal help, call me at 210-725-4658.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so interesting. And they kind of make you jump through those hoops, but it's good to know that it's not, that's it. I kind of figured when I went on there and I wasn't able to access it, I go, well, I guess they'll just have to absorb it or it'll stay there forever and ever. So it's good that you're on the show today explaining this to people, that there is an alternative and there are ways to still claim that money, even if you can't do it yourself.
There's valid help out there. So if anybody wants any more information on it, they're more than welcome to go on to rockwoodrecovery.com. That's Rockwood, RUCKWOOD recovery, RECOVERY.com, and check that out. There's tons of information. There's links to all the laws, especially for Missouri, California, and Georgia. And on a nationwide level, if people are looking for money, if they've moved from state to state, there's also a national database, and that is missingmoney.com. So again, missingmoney.com. And they can check in every state to see if they have unclaimed property available.
Oh, that's so awesome. I also know that you do some work with disaster relief. You want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. So this past summer, we actually didn't do that necessarily before. Like, I love doing volunteer work around my community anyway, but this summer, St. Louis in particular, which is where Rockwood Recovery is based, we had that huge tornado disaster. And it was extremely devastating. So Rockwood Recovery went ahead and partnered with a Brilliant Minds at Work project, as well as Faith Church, which is a huge church out here. They're like the first responders to disasters, any disaster out here. And went out, passed out, water, clothes, toiletries. I know I spent the entire weekend cooking hot meals and packaging them up to go pass them out to folks, just to make sure people had a hot meal to eat, and cleaning up too as well. I packed my car full of any yard tools I can think of, chainsaws, shovels, anything to clean up the debris. It was wonderful working with all those people. We were out there day and night assisting those who were affected by the tornado. And it was very rewarding to get to help in our community. So we made it a point to continue to keep doing that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow, that leads me right to my little gift questions. Can you give the audience an example of a little thing that they can do in their community that might just be a little give on their end, but might make a big impact on the other side?
I would say something little that they can do in their community, and it might, even though I'm calling it little, it's actually quite big. If you see someone in need, especially if there's a natural disaster that happens, partner with somebody, see what you can do. I would say just go see what you can do. If you have information that could actually help somebody, that's also a good thing. I know while we were out there, after we ran out of supplies, I had my computer and access to the unclaimed property database, and I helped people find unclaimed property. If you got a piece of information that can actually help somebody in a time of need, give it to them. Because you never know.
That's a fantastic example. I love that. Can you give the audience an example of a time in your life where somebody did something little for you that might have just been a little give on their end, but really made an impact on you and in your life?
I'd say when people are honest with me, it's not necessarily one person. There's a number of people. When people are honest with me and can be open with me about what they see in me. I know there's a man named David Reed. You know, we were sitting there chit chatting with each other at a conference, and he called it out. He said, "Yo, you've got a problem trusting people and micromanaging. You need help. You can't do everything on your own." And I was very grateful to him for being honest with me. And that actually helped me. I said, if a stranger can see this in me, then, and within 5 minutes of speaking to me, I appreciate the honesty. I just appreciate honesty from anybody. So just being honest with me. That's something that people can do for me.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that example as well. Can you tell the audience about a nonprofit that you're excited about?
The nonprofit I'm excited about is a Brilliant Minds at Work project. They do so much great work. You know, this past holiday season, they passed out toys to kids. Not only were they out there during the summertime, some of the first people out there during that disaster, feeding, clothing people and all that, but they also provide education to underserved communities in our school. Private school education, as a matter of fact. And for 40% of the students, they provide that education at no cost to the families. So they just do so much great work. And, you know, if we'd love to point people in the direction of a Brilliant Minds at Work project, because they are doing so much good in this community. I can't describe how much good work they're doing in the community, but they are.
Wow, what a beautiful nonprofit. You know, we've been doing Little Give for 3 years, almost 3 years now, and we've never heard of this one before. So I love the fact that people like you come on and you bring this to our audience. All these different nonprofits are doing this amazing work. Tell us how you came to know this nonprofit.
I came to know this nonprofit because I actually enrolled my kids in their program. So yeah, I enrolled my children in their program when I started like ramping up work, and I needed childcare as well as education for my kids because they were under the age of kindergarten. You know, they were right there. They were right there to assist and help a working mom, grow Rockwood Recovery and what I created. And so I was extremely appreciative to them for working with me and working with my kids. And, you know, my kids have flourished. My kids have flourished working with them. So, yeah.
Wow, that's so wonderful.
And
Well,
they
thank you.
host these. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go
I
ahead.
don't know if you had saw that they host events for the parents. Like when you were scrolling up, they host events for parents too. They're, you know, if you need a little break, they have that childcare available so the parents can have a night out, like a movie night and whatnot. They just did New Year's. It's absolutely beautiful thing. They're so family centered.
Oh my goodness, I love it. You know, I have a huge passion for single parents. I myself was a single parent after escaping a domestic violence relationship, and so now we give away cars to single parents in need through my nonprofit, Driving Single Parents, that I founded. And so I have a huge heart for single parents, and so I could just imagine how much this nonprofit really helps parents in general because it's such a hard job.
They do. I love it. They're so compassionate and they're very flexible. They're very flexible. And of course, like I said, even this past, they made Christmas for so many children. So many children. It was amazing. And I was happy to donate. Now that Rockwood Recovery has grown, I'm in a position I am extremely happy to help. Whenever they ask, whenever they need a hand, I'm there.
I love it so much. Thank you so much for everything you shared with us today. Why don't you tell the audience where they can find you, get to know more about you, all the things you do?
They can find out more information about Rockwood Recovery from the Rockwood Recovery website, and it's RUCKWOOD Recovery, RECOVERY.com, and or the Rockwood Recovery YouTube channel and or Facebook page. And they can also send us an email at rwr@rockwoodrecovery.com. Schedule a free consultation if they want to find out if they have any unclaimed property or tax foreclosure surplus available to claim.
Oh, I love it so much. Well, everybody, she told you all the ways to get in touch, find out more about what all she is doing to help others. If you're interested in a nonprofit, go to their website, find out more. And if you're passionate about it, go make a donation. $1 or $5 multiplied by the many people watching this episode today will make a huge impact to this nonprofit. Thank you so much for being on today. We're so grateful. And thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you all next week. If you enjoyed this episode of Little Give, head on over to our website. At littlegive.com, you'll be able to find all the information about previous episodes and past guests that we've had on. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on Little Give, all the information is also on the website. And if you have a nonprofit that you love and would like to recommend be on the show, all of that information is also on the website. We really appreciate you watching today, and we can't wait to see you again next week.